Hi everyone, it is day 19, February 19th of the challenge. Today I had an errand to run downtown, so I went to around Loomis Street and then I came back. I went down to Lake Street and then went up to Pine Street to go to the pottery studio, and then I came back home at the end of the day, all on my bike. Today was warmer again. It was around 40 degrees, but it was very windy today. And I didn't really notice, obviously, when the wind was behind me, which was when I was leaving. But when I was coming south, the wind hit me real hard coming down Pine Street, and my eyes were watering. Or it was really actually Lake Street when my eyes started watering. So I really should have brought some eye protection, sunglasses, or I have actually safety glasses. I just use those for nighttime riding when I don't want wind to get in my eyes. But yeah, I think the main thing I want to say about biking today is that I was really, to be honest with you, I am starting to get a little burnt out on biking, and I have a hill like pretty much right when I leave home. Just setting out, going up that hill is like, oh man. And I think part of the issue is that I keep working out as much as I normally would, and I'm not really accounting for the fact that I'm biking everywhere. And so I think in the long term, I would just get used to it and get stronger, and it wouldn't be a big deal. But if I were being a little smarter about it, I probably wouldn't have worked out this morning. But yeah, I noticed my feelings, and I sort of adjusted to the fact that I was not excited about getting out there, and by basically just taking it a little slower, going maybe a gear shift lower than I normally would, and just taking it easy. So for today's topic, I wanted to just talk about some routes on my commute that I no longer take and why. Alright, so the first thing I want to mention is that I used to live around Dorset Farms, which is right here in South Burlington. And so I used to begin my commute by going down Dorset Street, going all the way down to Songbird Road, and then taking Spear Street up to this weird circle, and then going through East Ave, down to Colchester Ave, and then taking the route that I currently take. So that's sort of what I started out doing, the route that I took initially when moving out of my parents' place, and the route that I take now. And so I currently live right around Rice High School. And so initially what I did was to get back on the route that I was used to, just getting on this bike path here, which goes next to the connector highway. And then from there, basically getting on that same route that I just described. After a little while, I sort of realized that I don't have to go backwards and around. I can just take South Prospect Street, but yeah, it's a little more direct. And so that trade-off is, I think, still worth discussing. Fairmount Street is a neighborhood, looks like this. South Prospect Street, this is a weird one-way, and it's supposed to be not for through traffic, so cars are not supposed to be going through here, but they do sometimes. But I bike through here on this little path, unless there are pedestrians, and then I go onto the road. This road is horribly paved. It's probably the worst road I know about. Has a billion potholes. Not good. And then the other part of it looks like this. You can see not a lot of margin, but it is a low traffic road. Now Spear Street, in comparison, you have this completely separate path. This is an ideal scenario for a biking environment, right? You have a protected bike lane here. It's really a recreational path, technically. And so this is a significant trade-off, right? You have a more direct, faster route versus a more protected, safer, indirect route. For me personally, I feel pretty comfortable biking on South Prospect, which is why I choose that. But I think this is a good example of why cities really need to make bike lanes that are safe and convenient when they have this sort of inconvenient, like roundabout way of getting into Burlington safely. It's really not as attractive as a means of transportation, as opposed to if there were a bike lane on South Prospect Street, for example. All right, I guess the next thing I want to mention is that I used to take South Prospect all the way down and then take a right on Colchester Avenue. Recently, I stopped doing that and I started going right on this little bike path here, crossing here and then taking University Place. There are a couple reasons for this. One of the biggest reasons is that the light here does not detect bikers. So if there's nobody in a car behind me going straight or across from me going straight, the light will never change for me. And there's no pedestrian cross on the right side. So I can't just get off and take the pedestrian cross. I would need to cross a lane of traffic in order to get to the left-hand side of the road in order to cross with pedestrians. So this is really hostile to non-car traffic. So I think this is a good alternative, taking this path, and then you have a pedestrian cross here, and then you can hop right onto University Place. And the pedestrian paths are quite wide, so you don't feel like you're just running over pedestrians. University Place has a brand new bike lane, 2 ways. It's a bike lane 2-way, car 1-way, which is pretty cool. Next thing I'll mention is that I've tried a few times. I would never really say it was a part of my real route, but something I have done a few times is taken Riverside Avenue. Basically, you go all the way down North Prospect Street, and then you go down here and then take a bike path all the way down to the bridge. Now, the first reason I don't like this is it's just less direct. It is definitely a detour. The second reason I don't really like it is that North Prospect Street feels pretty bad to bike on. There are a lot of stop signs where you have to kind of negotiate with cars who's going to go first, and a lot of parked cars and not a lot of space to bike. Colchester Ave, in comparison, has a bike lane until you get to East Ave, and then you have a Sharrow. However, the Sharrow is on a pretty good downhill, so you can kind of send it, but there have been times where there's a bus behind me, and I do feel like a piece of shit for holding the bike or the bus up. Once you get about to here, the bike lane reappears. You can see it comes out of the gutter there. In comparison, North Prospect looks like this. There's usually more parked cars than this. You can see there's a stop sign, another stop sign, or I guess there's no stop sign here. Another stop sign there. And then once you get onto Riverside, when I go down here, I always take this bike path because it's a separated lane, so why not? But apparently there is also a bike lane. When I would take Riverside, I would go on the sidewalk here, and then I'd take some kind of a weird route up Weaver Street, and then come down on Teigen Street, take a left on Main. I really did not enjoy biking up Weaver Street. It was extremely steep, stop signs everywhere, not great. A route that I used to do on my road bike a lot would be to go right on the circle, and that's nice because you don't have to be in the circle going up this hill. Now, if you take a right on the circle, you can take a left on Cascade Way, and then you're forced right onto East Allen. There is a bike lane here, which is nice. And then I would take a left like around here on whatever that is. And so we'll see if this is up. Yeah, this is pretty updated here. So I take a left into here, which is a difficult left to make, but you can use this pedestrian cross if you want. And then once you're in here, I would take a right on LaFountain Street. This gets you underneath the interstate, crucially. And then you can go up here on Gilbrook. And then if you go all the way up here, what's happening? I'm going backwards. That was so strange. Okay, if you go into here on this path, it will take you to where I'm going to show you. The other end is right here. It's like a loop, but it comes out, one of the exits is here. You can come out right there, and then you can go up Hercules Drive or whatever this is, all the way up to Lower Mountain View, and that spits you out right here in our hellish intersection. You can see what this creates, right? You go this way and you go all the way around here, and you go back here. So it creates this big loop as opposed to just going straight on Main Street here. Ultimately, I ended up deciding that for me, the slight added safety of going around here was not worth the added time. And ultimately, the way I think about it is that even if I'm on a safer street, the amount of time that I spend on the road factors into safety as well, right? So if I'm on a street that's twice as safe, but I spend twice as long on it, it's just as dangerous, and I'm spending twice as much time. So with that in mind, my current route is to go around the circle and then go up Main, all the way down, and then as I've mentioned before, I do this kind of wacky maneuver where I take a right on Lower Mountain View, and then I do a little U-turn in this parking lot thing here. I just go in there, turn around, take a left onto Lower Mountain View, and then I go straight there. I don't take a direct left on Main Street. I don't cross the 2 lanes of traffic here to get into this left turn lane here. The only other thing I'll say is that now I'm more willing to get off of the road on the circle and take the pedestrian sidewalk area. I think that especially on my utility bike, I'm not necessarily comfortable being in this left lane, which I have to be in order to stay in the circle, right? So I'm more willing to get on this brick sidewalk and then go on this little cross here where this person is crossing through this little thing and then going through there. All right, this is super long, so hopefully I'll be able to edit it down, but it's probably going to be a longer one. So if you made it all the way through, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.